Did Chris Marek, Amy Roloff's beloved husband, just get arrested? And could it all be part of a shocking setup? Fans of Little People, Big World are in disbelief tonight as rumors swirl online about a sudden police incident involving Chris, the man viewers have long known as kind, patient, and deeply devoted to Amy. Social media has exploded with speculation. Some claim to have seen leaked footage. Others say it's all a terrible misunderstanding. But what's clear is this: something happened, something serious enough to shake the Roloff world to its core. For years, Chris Marek has been a symbol of calm and strength. When Amy divorced Matt Roloff after nearly 3 decades of marriage, it was Chris who helped her smile again. He stood beside her when fans questioned their relationship. He comforted her through heartbreak and controversy. Together, they built a new chapter, one filled with love, travel, and shared dreams. But now, the fairy tale seems to be under fire. The headlines spreading online tell a very different story, one filled with shock, confusion, and betrayal. Was Chris really involved in something illegal, or is this the result of a cruel frame-up? Fans are calling it the Roloff frame-up, a plot that some believe could be rooted in jealousy, old grudges, or even the tensions that have long brewed within the Roloff family itself. Could someone be trying to take Chris down and, by extension, destroy Amy's happiness all over again? Tonight, we'll break down every detail: the timeline of events, the family's reactions, the strange social media clues that appeared before the news broke, and the emotional toll this has taken on Amy Roloff, a woman who's already endured so much in the public eye. From the police reports that fans claim exist, to the eerie silence coming from both Amy and Chris's social media pages, we'll explore it all. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why so many fans believe this isn't just an arrest, it's a setup. Because in the world of Little People, Big World, even love stories come with secrets. And this time, those secrets may have led to the most shocking moment in the show's history. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For Roloff family latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. The shocking rumor hit the internet like a thunderclap. Late one evening, whispers began to circulate through fan forums and Reddit threads dedicated to Little People, Big World. A few anonymous posts claimed that Chris Marek, Amy Roloff's husband, had been taken into custody following a tense real estate meeting gone wrong. At first, the claim seemed far-fetched, a bizarre mix of confusion and speculation. But as screenshots, alleged eyewitness statements, and vague insider messages began appearing online, the story took on a life of its own. According to the earliest reports, the incident allegedly occurred during a routine real estate showing where a heated misunderstanding spiraled out of control. Some claim that a disagreement with a client or property owner was misinterpreted by onlookers, leading to a call to local authorities. Others insisted it was all a setup, a deliberate attempt to frame Chris and damage both his and Amy's reputation. The exact truth was unclear, but that didn't stop the internet from going into overdrive. Within hours, the phrase "Chris Marek arrested" began trending across multiple fan communities. On Facebook groups dedicated to LPBW, moderators struggled to contain the flood of comments and reposted rumors. Many fans were stunned, refusing to believe the man who'd built a reputation as calm, kind, and deeply supportive could ever find himself at the center of such drama. Meanwhile, Amy Roloff's social media activity abruptly stopped. Her normally cheerful Instagram stories, filled with cooking videos, gardening clips, and sweet moments with Chris, went silent. A few eagle-eyed fans noted that Amy canceled a planned live Q&A just hours after the rumors broke. That sudden quietness only fueled speculation further, with many convinced she was devastated and trying to process what was happening behind the scenes. On Reddit, one fan wrote, "Amy, been through enough in her life. She doesn't deserve this kind of heartbreak again." Another said, "This feels off. Chris has always been such a good guy. Something's not right here." Dozens of posts echoed the same disbelief that this must be a misunderstanding or worse, a setup designed to hurt the couple's peace. As the hours passed, small details began to morph into full-blown theories. Some fans insisted they saw official-looking documents online, though none could be verified. Others claimed to have heard police scanner audio mentioning Chris's name, which also turned out unsubstantiated. But once a story like this catches fire on the internet, facts often take a backseat to emotion. By the next morning, Amy's followers had filled her comment sections with prayers, heart emojis, and demands for clarity. Even people who hadn't followed LPBW in years began tuning in again, wondering what could possibly have gone wrong. The atmosphere across social media was a mix of confusion, sadness, and suspicion, and a growing sense that something about this story didn't add up. Whether the rumor came from a miscommunication, a deliberate smear campaign, or just internet chaos, one thing was certain: the Roloff community was shaken. Fans who had watched Amy rebuild her life and find happiness with Chris after years of public heartbreak couldn't believe she might be facing another devastating chapter. And as the silence from Amy and Chris continued, the questions only grew louder. What really happened that night? Was Chris truly in trouble, or was he the victim of a shocking frame-up that could destroy everything he and Amy had built together? What started as a bizarre rumor soon turned into a full-blown theory. Some fans began suggesting that Chris Marek might have been framed, the victim of a calculated plan meant to embarrass not only him, but the entire Roloff family. Theories began swirling across fan pages, Reddit threads, and YouTube channels, each one painting a picture of manipulation, jealousy, and revenge. While there's no official confirmation that any of it is true, the coincidences surrounding the alleged incident were hard for fans to ignore. It all began when details of the supposed arrest appeared just days after Amy Roloff made headlines for supporting Matt Roloff's controversial decision to move forward with selling part of the Roloff farm. That timing alone was enough to spark suspicion. Some fans wondered, could someone be using Chris as a pawn, trying to drag Amy into another public scandal at a time when the Roloff name was already under intense scrutiny? The idea gained traction fast. A number of online investigators began piecing together screenshots, timestamps, and archive posts, claiming they'd found inconsistencies in the narrative surrounding Chris's situation. A few even pointed out that the initial report of his arrest came from an anonymous account that had previously targeted both Amy and Chris with negative comments. This detail only deepened suspicions that the whole ordeal might have been orchestrated from behind the scenes. The frame-up theory soon branched out into several versions. Some believed it was the work of a jealous business rival, someone threatened by Chris's successful real estate ventures in Oregon. Others thought it might have been a disgruntled former employee or associate, angry over past deals or perceived slights. And then, of course, there were those who speculated that the drama could be connected to old tensions involving Roloff farms, suggesting that individuals upset over the property's sale or division might have sought revenge through public humiliation. What truly fueled the theory, however, was the pattern of strange coincidences. Just before the alleged incident, Chris had been seen meeting with potential clients in the area, and a few online sleuths claimed that one of those meetings had turned unexpectedly sour. Then, almost immediately afterward, the rumors of his arrest began spreading like wildfire. To fans, the timeline seemed too perfect, too cleanly aligned to be random chance. As the story evolved, even casual viewers of Little People, Big World began taking notice. They pointed to how calm and composed Chris had always appeared on the show, a man who avoided conflict and preferred diplomacy over drama. For many, it was simply unthinkable that he would suddenly find himself in legal trouble without something larger happening behind the scenes. "There's no way this isn't a setup," one fan wrote on Instagram. "Chris has never been anything but kind and respectful. Somebody clearly wants to ruin his name." Adding more mystery to the situation, a handful of users began sharing alleged connections between the timing of the rumors and recent disagreements within the Roloff circle, particularly around family business dealings and property disputes. Some fans even pointed out that Chris's involvement in certain filming decisions for the TLC show may have rubbed a few people the wrong way, creating potential enemies behind the camera. By this point, the narrative had taken on a life of its own. Online threads were filled with amateur analyses, maps, and even side-by-side comparisons of dates and statements. Every small clue, from a deleted comment on Amy's Instagram to a delayed TLC announcement, was scrutinized as possible proof that Chris had been caught up in a deliberate setup. Whether any of this holds truth remains uncertain, but one thing was clear: the frame-up theory had captured the imagination of the LPBW community. To many fans, this wasn't just about Chris. It was about protecting the integrity of the Roloff name and questioning how far people might go to destroy someone's reputation in the public eye. And as Amy remained silent, choosing not to address the rumors directly, the speculation only grew louder. People began asking not just what happened, but who might be pulling the strings behind the scenes. Amy Roloff's world, which had seemed so full of peace and stability in recent years, was suddenly shaken to its core. Those who know her say she was completely blindsided. For a woman who had endured heartbreak, divorce, and years in the public eye, the latest turn of events surrounding Chris's alleged arrest felt like a cruel twist she never saw coming. Amy, who had finally rebuilt her happiness and sense of security, reportedly broke down in tears the moment she learned what had happened. Friends say she kept asking the same question over and over: why now? Why him? It wasn't just about the public embarrassment. It was about the fear that the man she trusted most was being unfairly targeted, or worse, that her heart had been betrayed again. Instagram page, usually filled with upbeat baking videos, family photos, and cheerful updates, took a sudden dark turn. Fans immediately noticed the shift. Gone were her usual happy weekend posts. Instead, Amy began sharing cryptic captions about trust, faith through trials, and remembering who stands by you when the storm hits. These weren't random thoughts. To many followers, they read like a cry for help. The once vibrant Amy appeared quieter, more reflective, and deeply emotional. Even her live Q&A sessions, which fans had come to adore, seemed to change. Observers said she looked distracted, her voice breaking slightly as she thanked fans for their support without mentioning what was really happening. Some fans commented that her eyes seemed sadder than usual, and her smile, though brave, no longer carried the same warmth. Many took to social media to send her messages of strength with comments like, "We're here for you, Amy, and you don't owe anyone an explanation." Behind the scenes, those close to Amy say she leaned heavily on her children for emotional support. Zach, despite his own ongoing issues with the family farm and show, reportedly reached out to his mom almost daily. He wanted her to know she wasn't alone, that whatever was going on, they would face it together. Molly, ever the private one, is said to have flown in for a short visit just to spend time with her mother, offering quiet comfort and distraction. Amy's closest friends also rallied around her. They reportedly encouraged her to stay offline, reminding her that social media can be cruel when the truth is unclear. For a while, Amy took their advice, disappearing from her usual online routines, skipping appearances, and focusing on her own emotional healing. To fans who have followed her for years, it was clear: Amy was hurting. This wasn't the first time Amy had faced heartbreak, but this one felt different. It wasn't a slow unraveling like her divorce from Matt. It was sudden, jarring, and public. The silence from the rest of the Roloff family only made things worse. Neither Matt nor his fiancée, Caryn, made any public comments. Jeremy and Audrey, who usually post constantly about family life, remained quiet too, leaving fans wondering whether they were choosing privacy or were simply too shocked to speak. That collective silence spoke volumes. In a family so accustomed to sharing everything from births to breakups, the absence of words suggested that this situation was far more serious than anyone wanted to admit. Amy, once the emotional heart of Little People, Big World, suddenly found herself surrounded by whispers, speculation, and a painful uncertainty that seemed to echo louder with every passing day. And through it all, Amy tried to stay strong. Her friends describe her as heartbroken but resilient, spending more time in her kitchen, her sanctuary, baking bread and making comfort food not for the cameras but for peace of mind. She's said to have told one friend, "If I stop doing what I love, then the sadness wins." It's that same fighting spirit that fans have always admired about her, even when her world feels like it's falling apart. As news of the alleged arrest spread, the Roloff family found themselves under a spotlight once again, a spotlight they know all too well. For years, Little People Big World fans have watched the dynamics between Matt, Amy, and Caryn unfold with fascination and concern. But this latest controversy seemed to reopen old wounds, forcing buried emotions to resurface in a way no one expected. Matt Roloff, ever the businessman, reportedly chose to stay silent in the face of the growing storm. His fiancée, Caryn Chandler, also avoided any public statements, a move that only fueled speculation. Some fans saw their silence as cold and dismissive, while others argued it was simply self-preservation, an effort to avoid deepening the chaos that was now surrounding Amy and Chris. Behind the scenes, however, things may not have been as calm as they appeared. According to fan whispers and alleged insider claims, Amy was deeply hurt by what she perceived as Matt and Caryn's lack of compassion. To her, silence felt like betrayal. For decades, Amy and Matt's relationship has been defined by a mix of shared history and unresolved resentment. Though both have moved on, Amy with Chris Marek and Matt with Caryn, this latest ordeal reportedly reopened that emotional rift. Some fans even wondered whether Amy's anger was less about the silence itself and more about years of feeling unsupported by her ex-husband, especially in times of personal crisis. Caryn, meanwhile, was said to be walking a delicate line. Known for being protective of Matt and cautious about public perception, she reportedly made private efforts to reach out, not through statements or social media, but directly. A few fan accounts even suggested that Caryn quietly contacted Amy to offer sympathy and reassure her that she and Matt were not taking sides. But whether Amy accepted that gesture remains uncertain. Publicly, there was no acknowledgement, no interaction, and no visible reconciliation. For longtime viewers, this lack of unity served as a painful reminder of just how fractured the once close Roloff clan had become. Tensions reportedly reached a new high as online speculation turned personal. Some fans accused Matt and Caryn of distancing themselves from Amy's struggles, while others accused Amy of being overly emotional and unfairly blaming her ex. The debate divided the fanbase, some siding with Amy's pain, others defending Matt's silence. In the midst of it all, the Roloffs' already fragile peace seemed to crack further. Family insiders claimed that conversations between Matt and Amy became tense and brief, with both parties avoiding the topic entirely whenever possible. The alleged arrest and its fallout exposed just how fragile the Roloff family's relationships remain, even years after the show's glory days. What was once a united family under one roof had now splintered into separate camps, each dealing with the drama in their own way. Matt and Caryn appeared to prioritize damage control and privacy. Amy focused on emotional healing and protecting Chris. But the rift between them, one built on years of misunderstanding, hurt, and conflicting values, seemed to deepen once more. And yet, beneath all the tension, some fans couldn't help but wonder, could this painful chapter eventually bring them closer again? After all, the Roloffs have weathered countless storms before. But as this scandal played out, one thing was clear: the lines between family loyalty, public image, and personal pain had never been more blurred. As the rumors surrounding Chris Marek's alleged arrest exploded online, the Little People Big World fanbase didn't just sit back and watch. They went into full investigative mode. Within hours, social media platforms transformed into virtual crime labs. Reddit threads filled with theories, Instagram fan pages began dissecting every detail from Amy Roloff's latest posts, and Facebook groups traded alleged insider screenshots that claimed to show everything from police reports to cryptic family texts. Fans who had followed Amy and Chris's relationship from day one couldn't believe what they were hearing. Some immediately jumped to defend Chris, insisting the entire story sounded like a setup. One user on Reddit passionately wrote, "Chris has always been nothing but kind and supportive. This is someone trying to ruin his name, maybe jealous of his success or Amy's happiness." Others echoed the sentiment, saying there was no way a man with Chris's reputation and personality could be involved in anything shady. But not everyone was convinced. As the hours turned into days without any official statement from the Roloff family, doubts began to grow. "If this isn't true, why haven't they said anything?" one Facebook commenter questioned. Another wrote, "Amy's silence says more than words. She looks heartbroken in her last live video. Something's definitely wrong." These contrasting opinions fueled even more speculation, dividing the LPBW community down the middle. Instagram pages dedicated to the Roloffs started zooming into photos, comparing old posts to new ones, looking for any hidden meanings or signs of distress. A few fans noticed that Amy had stopped wearing certain jewelry, sparking yet another theory that her silence was actually a subtle message. Meanwhile, YouTube channels began uploading breakdown videos analyzing every timeline inconsistency, possible motive, and rumored police report. One fan comment that gained traction read, "This fandom has turned into detectives overnight. Someone's lying and we're going to find out who." Another chimed in, "I've been watching LPBW since 2006 and I've never seen anything like this. It's heartbreaking but fascinating at the same time." By this point, the Roloff fandom wasn't just reacting to the news, they were living it. The emotional investment of longtime viewers turned speculation into obsession. People who had followed Amy and Chris's love story felt personally betrayed by the possibility that something so shocking could be true. At the same time, others expressed empathy for the couple's need for privacy, calling out the online witch hunt that had spiraled out of control. Ultimately, the fan response revealed a deeper truth. The Little People Big World audience has grown far beyond just casual viewers. They're emotionally connected, deeply protective, and unafraid to question everything when it comes to the Roloff family. Whether defending Chris or demanding answers, their passion has become a defining force in the unfolding drama, a community determined to uncover the truth, no matter how murky it gets. Whether the rumors are true or not, one thing is certain: Amy and Chris have weathered storms before, and their love has always found a way to endure. From meeting later in life to blending families and facing public scrutiny, they've proven time and again that their bond is built on patience, kindness, and understanding. Now, as whispers swirl and fans debate what's really going on, many hope this is just another test, one that will ultimately make them stronger. Because beyond the headlines and speculation, Amy and Chris are still two people who fell in love for all the right reasons: trust, companionship, and shared laughter. At the end of the day, only they know the full truth. And perhaps in time, that truth will bring peace not just to them, but to everyone who's followed their journey with love and admiration. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.